Hi, I'm Dylan Ramsey, and you're watching 10 Questions. I would guess my big break was Nip Tuck back in 2008, but unfortunately at that time we had a huge writer strike that really caused everything to slow down like molasses. So it took about 3 years to recover from that. In 2011, I got a huge double episode arc on NCS Los Angeles, which was awesome. And then cut to today, later on tonight, I'll be on Fox's hit franchise 24 Legacy, where I play a really, really bad man.
This is for Bin Khalid.
I think the project I'm most proud of would be HBO's award-winning film Donny and Ginger. We shot that back in 2006, and the reason why was I was given the opportunity and blessing by the director to go out and do a plethora of research, really in depth. I ended up going to a bar called Illusions in West Hollywood. Interesting name, but it's where a lot of cross-dressers, transsexuals, transvestites, and people who are going through the post-transgender, post-operation procedure frequented. And it was such a great experience because I got to experience and interact firsthand with people in that lifestyle. Very tragic of a lifestyle, because back in 2006 when we did this, there wasn't a lot of support. You know, it was kind of like a taboo thing. Oh, you know, someone's dressing like a woman or a man, or they want to be a woman. I mean, during this political climate, it's really tough right now as well, but it's so amazing to see how inside they're so supportive of one another, and they're so helpful. But it was so amazing to just get to interact and talk to people and feel like how that transformation works and why it works. Extinction would be the other film that I'm really proud of because it's a film that I wrote, starred, and produced in. It was directed by Aram Praveen Bilal. She also produced, and Joy Gaines produced as well. And it's about what's happening today, about the Muslim ban, and it really focuses about the last Muslim on Earth. So at the time that I wrote Extinction, I didn't think that Trump would have won the presidency. I knew he had a good shot, but I thought he would have lost to Bernie. But as things played out, he won the presidency. So Extinction is basically about a minority, whether you're Muslim or Jewish or Latino or Black or woman, transgender, gay, like any kind of minority that has oppression, that is bullied, and it talks about you can remove an entire people in a belief system or a culture or a lifestyle, but you can't take away that ideal. Humans are just one aspect of an ideology. That ideology is bigger than us. It's just our humanity. It's currently premiering at the Hollywood Real Independent Film Festival on Sunday, February the 19th here in Los Angeles. But once it's done its festival circuit, there are interfaith groups that are requesting the film to have private screenings and Q&As about it, because it's a very important part of our life, especially today in today's political climate.
There hasn't been a Muslim in quite some time now.
Yes, I was scared.
Where did you get this?
So what I do when I first get my sides for an audition, I read them as an audience member, and then the movie plays in my head. And as I read them, I don't really have a focus on anything, but I try to catalog the emotions that I feel. And then with my dog, who I love very much, we go for a walk around the block for 3 miles, and I work on the sides, just running my lines, not putting any emphasis on anything, really getting my lines down so that I no longer have to worry about them. And then when I sit with the reader, whether it's a self-tape or I go in the room, then the reader has their lines, which I'm not really familiar with, so I don't really do cue points. I just kind of listen. And listening is the most important part, I think, in any kind of work that we do. So I just really take it off the reader. So when the reader finishes their line, it's kind of like, did you just say that? Or is that what you just said? And then my line comes kind of like a natural response to what they just said. For me, I think that works really well. Also, I love character stuff. So it's kind of like, this is kind of hunky-dory, like taboo stuff, but I would put my sides on my nightstand, and I would go to bed, and because they're so close, I'm connected to them, and then I would dream about like my behavior and my mannerisms, even during the walk as I'm, working on the lines. I just kind of think, I think this character would do this or walk like this, or, I find a cadence. It happens on the subconscious level, and then it just comes out to the conscious level. That's how it works for me. So there's this film that Sylvester Stallone did called Over the Top, about arm wrestling, and it's a cheesy film. But what I got away from that years later, because I watched it when I was a kid, is he's explaining to the fourth wall, the audience. He's like, what happened? Like, what does he do to prepare for the arm wrestle? And he says, I have this hat that I wear forwards like this. And then when I sit down, I just flip my hat backwards, and it's like a switch. So I sit in the room, and I'm like, okay, I've done all the work that I have to do to be here right now. Whether there's recognizable faces in the room or not is irrelevant to me. And I'm like, all right, I deserve to be here. They asked me to come here. This is a collaborative effort. And now it's time for me to tell my version of the interpretation of this story with my choices. And this just switch goes off in my head. And I'm like, they say Dylan Ramsey. I look up, I'm like, all right. I get up, switch flips, and I walk. And I'm like, I'm ready. No matter what, you're always ready. And my coach, who I love very much, Rafael Sabarge, he says, when you don't know where to start from, and you're nervous, and you're freaking out, and you're not sure, and you're like just in like mayhem in your head, start from there. It's real life. So your character in the scene can have all of these emotions, suppress them, work with them. I think like that's the beauty of acting. You use that reality and bring it in with you. Don't hide it. Be who you are, bring what you've got with you, and then have fun in that room. And I think it'll go really well.
I don't know any plumbers!
Okay.
It's so hard being a star, I hate it.
When you're in that room, right? For me, when I'm in that room, I'll say hello to my friends. There's a bunch of them. I don't engage in conversation for many reasons. One, I need to focus on my work. That's the kind of actor I am. Two, I also want to be respectful to everybody else and to the casting room and to the session. And then preparing, it's just kind of like knowing that you're there, knowing that you've been invited there, knowing that that casting office through your team deserve to be there, and they're interested in your version of the story. As much as this is a competition to try and win the role out from the other person, it really isn't. All you can do is share your interpretation of the truth that you've gotten from this script based on this collaborative effort. And then just go in there to have fun, go in there to play, go in there and share your take, and then be open to adjustments. I think being present, listening, and just saying, yeah, I deserve to be here. I earned this. Because there's thousands of people who want to be in this room, but they called you in. So have fun with this, It is a difficult question. It is. Some people over promote, some people don't promote enough. You got to find that right balance. And so what I think the right thing is when you have something to share with the world, share it. Share it because it's something that you feel can help everybody else. It's like, I'm doing 24, so Fox is promoting it, the stars are promoting it, they're doing their press junkets. I get to do this one amazing pilot episode right now, and yeah, I'm gonna promote it because I'm gonna say, look, I got this opportunity to work on this amazing show, and I want to share that with you guys. This is what's happening right now. You can do postcards, you got social media, which we'll get to in a second, and you got word of mouth. Now, what's happened in the business today as technology evolves, so does the business. So now you have people who look at your Twitter followers, your Instagram followers, your Facebook likes, and so now there's this like mad dash to try and get as many followers as you can, no matter how you get them. Well, I don't think you should do that. I don't think one should worry about that. I think what you really want to do is focus on your craft. Train, and then when something comes up, share it. Some
Right.
people want to share all their headshots. I'll share one or two. Some people want to share all their projects. I'll probably talk about one or two. And then you're mandated by whether it's the network, the studio, the theater company to be like, okay, you need to post X amount of posts per week, per day. You have to follow that. So then you follow it because it's a business. But the idea that you want to ask yourself is the most important thing is, what do you want out of this career? how long do you want to be in this career? So if you want to be in this career for a lifetime, then work towards it for a lifetime. But if you only want to be in it for 15 minutes, then do it for 15 minutes. You know, like everyone has their own choices, everyone has their own destiny, and everyone has their own goals. Just figure out what yours are and then go after them that way. So I think like the fundamental things that people should have is you definitely should keep your IMDb up to date. Absolutely. And then a website. I do have a website. It's just for people out there to find. And my website is simple. It has my biography, has my resume, and has a link to all my reels and my contact information. That's it. If you want anything else about me, you can either find it through my social media. I do have an Instagram. I have a Twitter. I utilize them for different things. I do have a Facebook. Utilize it for different things. Career is part of that utilization, but it's not the only way I utilize my social media devices. One thing I do want to add is on your website, know who your target audience is. Keep it really simple because your target audience want to get to your information in no more than 2 clicks, 1 preferably. If you have something worth getting on a cover, absolutely, because you have something to say. You know, I think like, you know, if eBoss comes to me and says, hey, we'd like to interview you. You have your show coming out. You have this film that you've produced and written. You know, you're a Canadian actor who I've known from starting out to today. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I still feel like I have a long way to go. Like, I feel like I haven't achieved anything, you know, but we're always going to feel that way. It doesn't matter if you're Will Smith or if you're just a dude who's starting out or if you're nobody, you know what I mean? Like, you're always going to feel like you have so much more to go. I think the idea of appearing on the cover of a magazine or an interview is helping other people, taking your story and sharing with others so they can learn from it. And that's the human condition. The reason why we as animals have evolved more than other animals is because we're able to, one, communicate. Other animals can as well, but we record our information and we save it historically so that the next generation doesn't have to repeat the mistakes that we've made, and we evolve from there. So it's always about information that you're sharing with people. But definitely will help if it's the right message that you're putting out.
Honey, I was out for a business meeting with the 2 Daves trying to close the deal, and then they brought this hooker in who had a penis.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing really happened.
You always want to find the first AD or the production office. You want to check in once you second AD for certain shows. You want to check in with production, go to your trailer, and then just be friends with everyone. When you get on set, sometimes depending on the size of role, they could treat you like, if you're a co-star, you know, a smaller part, they could treat you like, I just want you to do it this way, you know. But you can always ask questions, you know, and always listen. One thing I learned really quick is when I got on set and I had smaller roles, they would give all the directions to the stars and the leads, and they would give my direction to them too. That was on my first job here on E-Ring and on NCS, not NCSLA. When I first got off the plane from Toronto, I went on the set, and then I heard the director telling Mark my notes. I'm like, wait a minute, is he telling my notes to him? Oh, so they expect you to be within earshot pretty much within every take. So what I started doing was I started hanging out, you know, not like in a very intrusive way, but kind of like a satellite, just a little bit of distance, allowing them their privacy, but within earshot, so that when they start talking about the scene, and then the director would look and be like, hey, so I'm like, I got it. I got your notes from him. And then if I have any questions, I'd be like, all right, cool. Well, what about this part right here we were talking? Like, can we talk about that for a second? You know, it's a collaborative effort. We're all here working together.
She says they won't kill us if we give them the money.
No, the deal is for the American prisoners.
Keep fighting! Keep shooting!
So I really learned to, it's always listening. It goes back to it, always listening, whether you're in a scene, whether you're on set, just listen, you know, listen and be open. Listen and be open and be friendly. Even if the set becomes hostile, there's always a reason why that's happening. It has nothing to do with you. You know, walk away from all that and just come back, take a step out, come back and just enjoy the moment. You know, you will find the fun in the pandemonium, you know, that's going on, because it's a lot of people doing a lot of work on a set. The film and TV industry kind of has its own machine. And so the only thing that I see that could help out more is more inclusivity. We all have really good cell phones, iPads, you know, and we're able to create our own content. And with, you know, platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, online websites, you have access to be able to shoot your own stuff, Movie Maker on your Mac, Premiere Pro on a PC, you know, and cut your own footage. Then say, okay, look, we can't force this massive machine that's been going on for decades, for years, in its own way, because that machine will change slowly. Whether it's Oscar So White or whatever movement will affect its change, but it might be just a change for the moment, for the year. It might not be everlasting. So if you want to affect that change, create your own content, you know, and become that change that you want to see out there. You know, like for Extinction, predominantly most of my key creative and cast were diverse women. I didn't intend it that way. No, I did intend it that way. I just felt there was something about women with what they have to bring to the table that would give it an extra edge that we men wouldn't be able to have. And that was before Oscar So White. Like, I really don't subscribe to certain movements, but I respect them and I appreciate them. And yeah, you know, we do need to have them. But again, in order for me to affect that change, I just created my own content. And therein, when you create that content, you become that ambassador for your peers, you know, to affect that change. That's how I feel. I think we should create our own content. You know, I look at people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Gary Oldman, Eva Green, Meryl Streep, of course. I look at the actors who just transform into their characters and who try to keep a low profile in the public eye. I think being humble, I think giving back is huge in this business. And I think knowing that there is a greater than you message in every single job, every single story that you take to tell, I think that's key. I think if we can share that and understand the greater goodness of humanity, I think that right there is the best mentorship anyone, you know, can ask for. And when you know that, you know, when you look at that and you know it and you're like, yeah, man, I really like it. This is a great story. I need to tell the story because there's that one person out there on the planet that I could maybe save their lives or change their lives for something better. You know, I think that's why we do this. I think that's what it's about. Acting teachers in Toronto, I studied with Bruce Clayton for a good year. He really helped me with my on-camera technique, laid the foundation. And then I went and I was invited into Jock McDonald's class in Toronto, and that was pure scene study. It was a little bit before my time, but like I really got a lot out of that. When I came out to LA, the two foremost coaches, one is Larry Moss. He does, you know, 2 workshops or so in LA a year, a couple in New York, once maybe in Canada. And wow, like you go into a show ready for opening night on Broadway. You can't mess around. You bring your props, you bring your dialect, you bring your accents, you bring your language. You just have to be there, present, your best A game. And my last coach who really like just brought all that other stuff together for me is Raphael Serbarge. He would kill me for calling him a coach because he's just one of us. He does the same thing that we do, but he created a community, you know, and such a wonderful, loving, supportive community. And I learned so much from Raphael, like, you know, just start from there. You know, that saved me so many times on set. You know, just start from there. It's a great place to start. You know, you're human, start from there. You know, I think that's probably some of the best advice I've ever gotten. Thank you for watching and having me on 10 Questions. Don't forget, you can catch me on Fox's 24 Legacy tonight. In America, it's on Fox, and in Canada, it's on City TV.